Good afternoon, folks. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that the land I am presenting to you today from is the traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and I respect their spiritual relationship with their country. I also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional custodians of the Adelaide region, and their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. My name is Mitchell Roberts. I'm a master's student in the secondary arts stream of the University of South Australia. Diverting from an engineering degree at Adelaide, I found myself at Tea Tree Gully, TAFE, studying an advanced diploma in screen and media game design, where I learned the practical skills of 3D modelling, rigging, animation, and experienced the professional pipeline with game engines, eventually collaborating with colleagues to release a game at the 2013 AVCON. From here, I completed my BCA at Flinders, the first year that they worked with CDW, the Creative Design Workshop, and I came to the University of South Australia in 2020. Within this professional learning in arts education course, I'm conducting an inquiry-based learning project on the University of South Australia's MOD, a futuristic museum of discovery, with the ultimate intent to inspire young Australians to question, critique, and create. With initial concept in 2013, planning and design in 2016 and 17, and official open in May of 2018, MOD is dedicated to showing not just natural phenomena or relics of ancient cultures, but showcasing how research can shape understanding and inform our futures. This inspiration is a key character of MOD and one that reiterates a message delivered by Ewan McIntosh in his 2011 TEDx London talk, The Problem Finders. Having students engage with divergent thinkers exhibited in the MOD may be that spark to cause students to question their world, their systems, and find their own problems, which their educators and teachers can help them solve, rather than the pseudo-problems of outdated textbooks. A museum that has students engaging, critically thinking, and leaving inspired and creative was the impetus reported in Foley's piece, Why Creativity? Articulating and Championing a Museum's Social Mission. It is playing a significant role to contributing to creative engagement in our community. I have no doubt that during these concept years they asked themselves similar questions that Foley published. What does lifelong learning look like in the 21st century? What do we want visitors to gain from their visit from the museum? How can the MOD have an impact on school reform? What fosters creativity? And how do we help our families cultivate the next generation of thinkers? MOD targets a 15 to 25-year-old demographic, and it places itself in the grasp of developed critical thinkers in secondary and tertiary education programs, or those already in the workforce. That's not to say younger students will not benefit from experiencing the exhibitions, but that further scaffolding from teachers may be required to make deeper learning accessible. MOD's vision and design principles are one example where they start to see a conscious alignment with the ACARA cross-curricular priorities. Their two-way-minded and sustainable for life declarations emulate the intentions of ACARA's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and culture and sustainability initiatives, respectfully. Furthermore, their accessible and inclusive, participatory, and for one and many statements echo the dedication to providing education that is accessible for all young Australians that ACARA promotes. We can see this firsthand in the multiple iterations of a teacher's guide provided for an exhibition held recently, Our 7 Siblings of the Future, which I'll discuss shortly. MOD's exhibitions have progressively become more and more explicitly educational, perhaps due to design thinking practices such as the one we are engaging in at the moment, or the design thinking that their exhibition coordinators like Natasha Kafora, Kia Buckskin-James, Dylan De Los Angeles, and Claudia Vanderborg have engaged with over the past 3 years. I'd like to focus on the aforementioned 7 Siblings from the Future exhibition and the education program involved. They've called it MOD-Dual, and it entails a whole-day pilot program. In partnership with UniSA Connect and based on UniSA Connect's STEM for Humanity program, this program is available for Year 10 students. The students tour the 7 Siblings from the Future, an interactive exhibition transporting students to the year 2050, where invasive species are on the move and water is a precious resource. And they follow 7 collective owners of a last plot of land known as Ukalara, the Last Haven. Students can make choices with the 7 siblings about what path to choose and what areas to focus on, what equipment to save or take with them, each impacting the future of their colony in a different way, understanding their choices by critiquing what qualifies a good life and good future. Students are actively engaging in critical thinking and questioning their own values, but empathetically, they're thinking about the foreign situation and what life might be like for those on Ukalara. This empathy, Sabakudai of Ask Miss Q argues, is a key step in a design thinking process. It is here that students are shown the problem and gather their information. Students are putting aside their scientific thinking of what is and engaging in design thinking of what might be in the future. This is differentiated in Anita Luca's journal, Design Thinking in Pedagogy. Once they have collated this research, students design, construct within budget, and test a water filter made of everyday materials. They can also use a CAD-based software to produce a 3D object, to build Luca's marina, and look at the maths behind the algorithms used to determine the exhibition's sole sibling. This whole program goes from 9:30 a.m. till 2:30 p.m. with breaks for recess and lunch and is located at MOD on North Terrace. It's limited to 30 students and costs $450 in total. This program provides multiple access points for students with different learning needs and has them fully engaging with the 4 phases of the ideal learning cycle put forth by Beckman and Barry, cited in Luca's work, of experiencing, reflecting, thinking, and acting. MOD have gone further to enrich the rigour in this education experience by designing and providing 3 iterations of teachers' guides for these exhibitions as well. One for secondary students with critical questioning opportunities, extra resources prompting questions, and information of tertiary education pathways for students of UniSA. A simplified version aimed at enriching a primary school student's experience of the exhibition sees more accessible questions, and there's an illustrated social story to cater to those on the autism spectrum, EAD learners, or more visual learners. As a whole, the exhibition is a narrative-based project, an element of the quality teaching dimension, significance, and a great example of how to link multiple curricula within one holistic, case-based learning experience. So how does this link with the curriculum? Well, MOD have made a noticeable effort to engage with students through interaction and prompting them to think. The ladder of a car is making and responding foci of the arts curriculum. By exposing them to multiple abstract exhibitions, students can analyse how technical and symbolic elements are used in media artworks to create representations, influences by story, genre, values, and points of view of particular audiences. They can evaluate how technical and symbolic elements are manipulated in media artworks to create and challenge representation framed by media conventions, social beliefs, and values for a range of audiences. By just being in the space and ask their opinions, they are also analysing a range of media artworks from contemporary and past times to explore differing viewpoints and enrich their media arts making. As they can physically engage with some exhibitions, they can address the band descriptions of building understanding of use of time, space, sound, movement, lighting, and technologies, and analyse the way in which audience make meaning and how audience interact with and share media artworks. They themselves are interacting with it firsthand, as are their peers and other people who could be interviewed to glean a greater understanding of its receival. As with almost all museums and interactive art exhibitions, COVID caused MOD to temporarily pause admission to exhibitions, later being reopened in early February of 2021. However, in an article published in October 2020, University of Australia student Michaela Coulter joined MOD for a micro-placement and discussed with MOD her views on exploring the digital futures for museums. With the closures, MOD redefined its online presence with opportunities to visit past exhibitions online and engage with the 7 Siblings of the Future exhibition digitally, a click-through adventure that students can undertake individually or as a group. This was regarded as a practical and productive measure to engage with people from a wider community. She remarks that museums are experimenting with approaches that would best suit their audiences. This is design thinking in the works, re-engineering of current platforms with an undercurrent of empathy. MOD is diversifying how it interacts with students, with QR codes being implemented for current and future exhibitions, and further developing their online presence and e-friendly practices. This will include podcasts, quizzes, gamings, workshops, chatbots, and virtual theatres. Furthermore, MOD have had to adapt their work experience program, but thankfully they are still running it. This digital form of work experience is innovative as it addresses 21st century skills that schools are attempting to develop simultaneously, namely digital literacy. On the whole, it seems that MOD is aligning with intentions spearheaded by the International Centre of Public Pedagogy, as by making informal institutions and public spaces as educative arenas, and public intellectualism and social activism. We could build on the Seven Siblings interactive exhibition by delving deeper into certain elements, the coding, the UI design, and how they constructed the filming portions of the experience, learning straight from the artists at the MOD. Have students design their own walkthrough adventure with similar features to address problems they see in the world, bullying, immigration, White House protests, a kind of Black Mirror Bandersnatch adventure. This is a technical skill approach and might give students more tools to express issues they see within the world. We could have students revisit exhibits like the Pleasure Arcade 5000, where students can ask themselves what really makes them happy and what would they do if they were fed this, media or other tangible substance, for the rest of their lives. Explore the realities of recommendation engines or targeted advertising and question the ethical nature of this. Have students then create advertisings that they would feel pertain to them personally and specifically to see what diverse motivations exist in the same body group. Look at the training ground exhibit. Students engage in competitive exercising to make them happier disguised as gaming. What else could be presented in another light to make it more enjoyable to do? What world problems could be solved? As MOD is a collective exhibitor of artistic views engaging with science and technology, creating collaborative works from a large sample of students, such as a representation of a word or idea through text, colour, flashing lights perhaps, one-word association, or other media, could be an accessible initiative with a large sample size, giving a broad view and insight to the demographic. I hope you found the presentation informative, and maybe you'd like to go see the MOD when it reopens in February. Thanks very much.